stream. Now I'm better off.
Awesome. Did you get earbuds so that Lex can hear?
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, hi.
Hi. Sam's been telling your stream lies. I'm definitely his familiar, not his girlfriend.
His familiar as in...
Like, he's a wizard, and he
Right.
has, like, this sweet animal companion that maybe doesn't know how magic works, but can, like, meow or, you know, fly around and carry messages.
Can they shapeshift?
I think that's a higher level familiar than I am. Sam should maybe, like, upgrade his familiars, because he's a pretty powerful wizard.
Maybe you're the one that needs to, you know, grind XP or something to level up.
That sounds fairly true.
Yeah. Alright, you guys want to do this? Should I quit my Momer game?
It's up to you.
I don't know. I got a giant oyster, so I'm looking pretty good.
Isn't that thing unbeatable?
It's pretty good. Alright, I'll quit. Whatever.
Okay. Yeah, you can just declare yourself the winner. You have the
oyster.
I
win. That guy owes me a pack. Did you pre-release?
Yes, I did. I played it. I mean, I played in exactly one sealed.
Okay.
I won the first 3 rounds and then lost to not drawing a 4th land in games 1 or 3 and not really drawing spells in game 2, but somehow won that one anyway.
Excuses.
Yeah.
What color do you want to do?
That is entirely on you.
I already did black, and Travis wants to do green with me. So white, blue, and red are your options.
Do you have a preference?
No, green's the best color. If you can't be that, it's anything.
What about the chat? What does the chat want?
Yeah, they're good to ask.
What do you people want? The guy with the screen Koth for the win wants red.
Really? I never would have guessed.
Yeah.
Wait, that guy has a hammer. He might be right.
Oh yeah, we should listen to him if we know what's good for us. Red, red, blue, blue, white, blue. Let's do white, blue, blue. All right, let's do blue.
They seem to have taken the link to the visual spoiler off of.
Here, I'll send it to you on Skype.
All right.
We did blue last time though, right? I feel like we've done blue together before. We did blue and we did red the last 2 times.
Okay. I mean, I have no idea.
So let's do white.
Yeah. Sent me a thing on Skype in theory. I don't really know where to find that.
You have to hit the little like bubble.
Oh, the speech bubble thing.
Yeah. That's like the instant messenger in Skype.
Yeah. Now I see it. All right, sweet. Now let me put this up. All right, now I can see the chat and the spoiler.
All right.
And we're doing white.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
All right. Sure.
I did black with Peace Sully last time and forgot, and then did black with him again, and then felt kind of bad.
Okay.
So we've done blue and red together, so let's do white.
I thought I remembered doing green with you. I don't know.
Whatever. You got everything up and ready to go?
Yes, I am fully prepared.
All right. Johnny, starting right out the gate.
Yeah.
So 3-mana planeswalkers are like in an interesting space, right? Like they function so differently than...
Yeah, I mean, well, just like 3 is a lot less than 4 mana.
Right. This guy is like pretty aggressive, and I don't know. What else is there to say about him?
Well, I mean, so there's the whole issue of like, does he count as a planeswalker that can't defend himself, or is 5 loyalty defending himself on a 3-mana planeswalker?
Right. Coming down on turn 3 with 5 loyalty is like pretty hard to kill immediately.
Yeah, like basically impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so I mean, like Luis was saying that, you know, in a way Jace defends itself because it gives you extra cards or something, but I'm not really buying that because it like also gives them extra cards.
Right.
And like, if you count stuff like a Johnny can make your creatures better at blocking, like I guess that's like defending himself.
Yeah, you're starting to stretch at that point.
Yeah, but I do think that, you know, the point of a planeswalker defending itself is that it is hard to kill it, and I think he is hard to kill. Mm-hmm. So I think he succeeds on that metric.
There's also the fact that this is going in a deck with creatures, if we're willing to stretch the definition of protect itself, right? This is going in a creature deck that'll have 1 and 2 drops, whereas Jace Beleren is going in decks that aren't blocking on turn 2.
Potentially. Yeah, and I mean, like, it's certainly, I mean, the -3 ability can be really explosive.
Yeah.
And I know that Wesco was talking about, like, using the -3 to get on a bunch of damage where, like, if they kill it, then they risk you just playing another one and killing them with -3.
Yeah. I had that conversation with him, too.
Yeah.
Which is definitely an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, the interesting thing about this in Constructed right now is that it's, like, competing for a very narrow space where, like, white decks don't want a million 3-drops, and even at exactly white 1, it's competing with Fiend Hunter and Silverblade Paladin, and then, like, there are other playable options. There's, like, Blade Splicer and Midnight Haunting, Geist Sandtraft, yeah.
Lingering Souls and the Double Strike guy.
Yeah, Silverblade.
No, the pro green one.
Oh, Mirren Crusader.
Yeah, that thing's still a card.
Yeah. So, like, he has a lot of very stiff competition.
Yeah.
That said, I could certainly imagine him being better than they are. Like, he, is a permanent threat that isn't itself removed by, like, a sweeper.
Right.
Though it's interesting, it's kind of bad for him that Day of Judgment doesn't exist, in that going forward, once that rotates out, it'll be potentially less important to, like, put another permanent into play that can't get killed by Day of Judgment. On the other hand, decks that want him are pretty happy that Day of Judgment doesn't exist for the most part.
Yeah, that's an interesting tension.
I
mean, like, somebody had this long list of the, like, unique applications of this thing. The most realistic of were the +1 kills image, and that, like, flying and double strike is good when you're exalted.
Sure.
Because, you can just do 10 for 3 mana.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you start getting into, like, what's that card? Rafik, for one thing, was just, like, a murderer.
Right.
And this is pretty similar to that. It's like a Rafik Finest Hour type place.
Right.
Which is definitely, I mean, those are some scary cards, and 3 mana and 1 color is much easier to cast than those were.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I certainly think it's a, card to keep in mind, and I expect it to see play. Like, I'd be more surprised if it doesn't see play than if it does.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And, I mean, its ultimate is a lot better than the other Ajani.
Yes, and its ultimate is also, like, a real thing, in that it has a plus ability that, like, you don't hate using.
Right.
And, like, it means control decks really have to, like, they can't just kill your guys and ignore the fact that you're making your guys better because they're all dying anyway. They have to actually respect this permanent.
Right. Yeah, it's a sweet card. And I like this design. I mean, I ranted a bunch yesterday about how I hate how Liliana's minus is equal to its loyalty.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. That was, like, when I saw the card, I was like, well, I wish that was different.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm definitely glad that this is not the same. And that tension that you brought up, that Wesco pointed out, of if they kill it, then you can just play its minus again, reminds me a lot of Liliana in that way.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Like, where sometimes you want to leave your opponent with a Liliana at 1 because it means they can't edict you next turn.
Right. Just something came to mind. I'm ready to go to Sunstriker.
Sure. So how do you feel about First Strike? Would you describe it as a drawback or maybe irrelevant?
First Strike?
Yeah, comparing this to Knight of Meadowgrain.
Like... Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we're not just ramping up the power of every card.
And I mean, this is a common, so it can't be full Knight of Meadowgrain power.
Right. It would have been cool if it had a a relevant creature type.
Yeah, rather than somehow managing to be less relevant than Knight of Metagran.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because like that's how they do it, right? Is like, oh well, this card's not quite as good, but it's a goblin or whatever.
Right.
They didn't even bother.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're really into clerics, which I have been, but not for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while since the apothecary days.
Exactly. That was the one.
Yeah, I mean, I had this in my pre-release deck and put Rancor on it a lot.
That's pretty good.
That was sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think the thing to talk about with this is limited.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, Knight of Metagran was insane.
Yes.
This is certainly not as insane, but...
No, but Lifelink in an Exalted set...
Yeah, absolutely.
...is like pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's a very good early attacker to play when you're curving out Exalted after it or before it or whatever.
Yeah. And this format actually... I mean, I was playing green-white creatures, so maybe it was just my experience, but it felt more race-oriented to me than like most core sets.
Yes.
You know, most core sets are super grindy and like Gravedigger chains.
I think the most interesting thing about evaluating this card in limited and figuring out when to pick it and stuff is figuring out how many planes you need how many planes you need in your deck to be happy with it, and how happy you are with it for each number of planes. Like, if you're 10 favoring white, is it better than Avensquire? If so, is it still better if you're like 9/8? What if you're 8/9?
I know that's just an example, but I'm pretty sure Avensquire is better than
Sure. Just no matter what.
Yeah.
Mono white, you'd rather have Avensquire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was just like looking at the next creature I saw on the page.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. That is definitely where it lies. And also, like, how... which then, you can't evaluate that without knowing how color-intensive the other colors are, right? Like, if you want to be green-white, how many double greens are there? How many other double whites are there? Like, which way are you going to be leaning?
Yeah.
So I guess that's just a context thing that we'll kind of figure out, but that is...
So that makes it hard to figure out, like, in pack 1, like, do you want to commit to white being your color?
Right.
But then, I mean, also by pack 3, like, you'll know which way you're leaning regardless of what other cards are in the set, and, like, you might be leaning the way that isn't the normal way to lean.
Right.
But certainly it helps to know the texture of the mana requirements and the different colors going into it.
Angel's Mercy.
I think we've seen this one before.
This is a card I actually like having in core sets. Like, I've boarded it in before. Like when Lava Axe Slingers was a deck.
Sure. Yeah, if your opponent has multiple Lava Axes, you don't mind an Angel's Mercy.
Yeah, it's a card I like having. Plus, it's awesome whenever my opponent casts it.
Sure. I assume you mean when you're not casting Lava Axes.
Yeah, well, I'm not casting Lava Axes.
That's just way out of your range.
Yeah, it would be a pretty rare sight to see me axing somebody and having them Angel's Mercy.
Sure.
But yeah, as far as filler goes, it's more like having. I like having like this thing. I like having Fog.
How many copies of the gain double life thing do you need before you think about main decking an Angel's Mercy, if you ever think about main decking it?
I can't think of a justification for it, because that thing's like a 1/5, right?
Yeah.
So if you just get two Exalt guys, then you can attack through pretty much anything in game 6.
Sure. You're saying if you have a bunch of those guys, your life gain might be covered?
Yeah.
Alright. Especially since, like, if you point where you have like 5 of them, you might have 2 of them in play with some Exalted, and then you're gaining, I don't even know
then you
how
have to
much.
like pull out your calculator on your phone, and
Yeah.
Angelic Benediction.
So, in other words, don't main deck your Angel's Mercies no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. I think that's acceptable advice.
Yeah.
Right, so.
Exalted is sweet.
Yes.
But...
Moving on?
Yeah. This thing, like... I was playing green-white creatures and did not play this.
Okay.
Despite
How did you
having
like it the first time around?
multiple, I liked it fine, but I liked it less than most people.
Okay.
I think 4 mana is a lot to not impact the board.
I mean, it does impact the board if you're attacking, right? It's like you know, removes their blocker.
Yeah, but like the hope is that if you just play like a 4 mana Exalted guy, or like also, I don't remember the context of the first time around, but for me at the pre-release, like I had a bunch of 4 drops,
Okay.
and this is not what I wanted to be doing. I wanted to be playing like a 3/3 hexproof.
Sure, but you were green, right? So
Yeah.
like, if you're like the white-black Exalted deck, I think black doesn't have that many 4-drops.
Sure.
And so it might be more valuable there.
Sure. It's just like a card that it's so bad when you're behind.
Yeah, you certainly have to know that you're going to be the aggressor. And it's also a card that, really likes the Sunstriker or whatever that dude's called.
Yeah. I don't know. You would have to be pretty sure that you're going to be ahead when you cast this to make it good. But like when it's good, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's just like a very narrow situation where like A, you're ahead, B, they have a relevant blocker, and C, you can't just like your guy with all of these Exalted triggers isn't bigger than their blocker anyway.
Well, I mean, it can certainly be important to stop them from jump blocking.
Yeah, or if they have a regen guy or like the fog bank or whatever.
Yeah, it's really important for getting around fog. Honestly.
Yeah,
that guy's a total hater.
Yeah, that guy does not like Exalted. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. These types of cards are the ones that I don't really like as much. Like, I don't give them as much respect as they probably deserve.
Sure. I'm a big fan of narrow cards.
Do you want to expand on that, or?
Well, I mean, just, like, if you know what your deck's... Like, if you're drafting a deck, then, like, you know when you want them, and you can get them.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely more than just about anyone else draft constructed decks.
Right.
So, I like that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Is Lex still there?
Yeah, she's just... we're talking, not enough about art for her to have an opinion, I think.
Scroll down alphabetically. Crusader of Odric is the only one with interesting art so far, so I'll probably wait till then.
Okay, fair enough. Attended Night. This card's sweet.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an Honor of the Pure in play, then it's as much power as a Blades Placer.
And isn't Honor not in this set?
Yes, that is accurate. But I mean, like, if we're not talking about constructed, then Blades Placer is not really a fair point of comparison.
Yeah.
And if we are, it's still relevant that the bigger body is the non-token.
Mm-hmm.
Which is both good and bad. It's bad for your birthing pod, but it's good against their Vapor Snag.
Or Gut Shot.
Yes, but it's also potentially bad against their Vapor Snag or Gut Shot in that, like, I think that's accurate, sort of. It
intersects on some level.
Yeah. But, I mean, most relevantly, it's not Blades Placer, and it's not as good, and it probably won't be great in constructed unless you're really serious about, like,
Knights.
Making a bunch of dudes.
Well, it's weird. It's a knight and makes a soldier, so you can't even tribal it.
There are cards that say knight or soldier, specifically the 2/1 flyer.
Oh, sure.
I
don't know. My application for this was giant first striker with Exalted and a chump blocker.
He's totally awesome and limited.
Yeah.
Like, very, very good.
Yeah, I don't think it's...
Like, it's 3 power for 3 mana. If they have a removal spell for it, you still have a little bit left.
Mm-hmm.
First strike's sweet. I'd take I wouldn't be thrilled about a 3 mana 2/2 first strike, but, like, the end of the world.
Yeah. I mean, awesome and limited, probably not constructed, not. I don't really know what else to say about it.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Aben Squire,
Ditto.
unbelievable. Guy is
The
so
full
good.
dittos.
Guy,
Awesome and limited, unplayable and constructed.
yeah, he's so good in limited though. Like 2-drop with is good enough, and then the fact that he has evasion himself.
Yeah, I mean, you'd play like that horrible guy with the blue ability that didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And this guy is like relevant.
Yeah.
Like flying's awesome in an exalted deck.
Yep. Guy's sweet. Battleflight Eagle. This is what's the other card? Welkin Guide?
Welkin Guide, yeah. I'm glad that we can play it at this now. In like modern.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank God they made the functional reprint.
Yeah.
Well, I'm furious that they did a functional reprint, not a regular reprint, because now my, binder full of Welcome Guides is worthless.
Well, I mean, unless you can convince someone that they should be playing 8 of them.
Which, why wouldn't you?
So, what do you think of the art on this card?
What, Battleflight Eagle?
Yes.
I mean...
It's a big dumb bird.
It's an eagle, it's flying. I'm kind of bored looking at it, but it's totally acceptable. It's not like, let's pretend that molded boobs make any sense on armor, and that if you fall forward in this armor, it won't stab you in the sternum for no reason. White is like a bunch of boring furries. I don't know. I mean, that one's not a furry, it's an actual animal, but the rest of white seems to be a bunch of boring furries and occasional soldiers.
They're not furries, they're cat people.
The reason that I ask about it is that its background is much more boring than most cards, and in general it feels very, very, very old school. It looks like art from Alpha or something.
Yeah.
Where there's just
this is the creature that you're attacking with.
Yeah, there's just not as much going on.
Yeah.
It's just a couple solid colors. I don't know about how art's created, but it looks like it could have been done paint or something.
Isn't that kind of appropriate for a core set? Because it's supposed to not take place anywhere specific and bring you back to the good old days of Magic.
Yeah, but I mean, compare it to the art around it. There's just...
Yeah, but this is much more rooted. She's... Crusader of Odric is clearly from Innistrad. You can use her anywhere, but she's from Innistrad. Whereas this guy is just I'm playing some Magic.
Well, it's also weird because the subject is so huge and there's nothing to scale. So I don't know if this is a giant eagle or just
it looks
an
a little
eagle
bit
that's
like a rock
close. I could totally envision a tiny dude riding on the back of him, but I could also imagine just grabbing out of the sky and having it be my pet.
Yeah, there's certainly nothing to give you any sense of scale.
I mean, the flavor text says it makes a fine mount, so unless it's a pixie talking, then it's a giant eagle.
Fair enough.
Yep, there you go. When you said mount the first time, I thought a mount, a wall mount, a head of a lion you hunted or something. So I'm just wouldn't that make it a giant eagle?
No,
or a normal eagle?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, I'm not entirely sure, but is that, red thing between its wings, is it actually, a saddle?
Yeah, read the flavor text.
It's a
mount, but then it got all proud and was screw this, dropping you.
I guess that makes sense with the mechanics.
Yeah, carries you for a while, but then it's just alright, I'm done with this guy. At least he lands and back down. It doesn't just throw you off like a stone giant or whatever.
Yeah.
Stone giant, that's the right card, right? The one that throws creatures?
Yes, Stone Giant is the one that hucks dudes.
Yeah, okay, good.
Much like Bloodrock Cyclops. Is that Chuck's name?
I don't know. There's the Brian Stoutarm too.
Yeah, him too.
Those guys throwing dudes.
Yeah.
Alright, Captain of the Watch.
Alright.
LOL Sun Titan.
Are you saying it's a good Sun Titan?
That's the opposite of what I was saying.
Well, they are both 6-mana white creatures with 6 power and vigilance, except this one actually has 9 power.
Right.
So...
But the other one Sun Titan has 12 18-hour plus a ratchet bomb.
That one takes a lot of work to set up, though.
You're not exactly ramping to this thing.
I agree that Phantasmal Image is good with Sun Titan, but there is no Phantasmal Image in this set. So
Or
if they
Sun
had
Titan,
reprinted
for that
Sun
matter.
Titan instead of the Captain of the Watch, you'd be like, man. Well, you
Yeah.
wouldn't really think of Captain of the Watch.
No.
But
This is like it's like a really bad Grave Titan.
but it's a better Lord than Sun Titan.
That is true.
Alright.
If you're looking for a Lord, I mean, Lords are awesome, right? From a design perspective, like, casual people love them, and they're so, like, build around me and are, like, not complicated, but are cool effects. Like, Lords are just good Magic cards
Yeah.
to make. So, I mean, I get it. I'm just not going to be constructing with this thing.
Well, I mean, the Titans aren't around anymore. So if you're actually looking for a 6-mana creature, I mean, they won't be. Like, so let's look at once the Titans are gone. Like, it's obviously worse than Sun Titan. But when that's not an option, and, like, is there another that you definitely play over this thing in your, like, I don't know, deck that wants a bunch of dudes?
Consecrated Sphinx?
Won't that rotate at the same time?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of 6-drops that are in...
Okay, that'll rotate at the same time.
What about Ellis Norm? That's in that set too, right?
Yeah, and a 7, but it's also gone.
Well, I'd rather wait a turn and play Ellis Norm than play this thing. Is what I was gonna say.
Sure, but you can't do that either. You don't get any cards anymore. You only have Captain the Watch.
You know what I want to
It's
do?
the only way you can win.
You know what I want to do to this thing is Dread Return it and then get to back it. That's the only like application I can think of for this, besides just being like a finisher.
Oh, okay. Sure.
It's not even that like resilient of a finisher.
You mean because if they kill it, then all you have is like 3 dudes?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. It's kind of sweet with Township.
That's true. I mean, I guess like Cloud Goat Ranger saw a ton of play.
Yeah. And this thing is different than Cloud Goat Ranger.
Yes.
So, I guess, do we think this is better or worse than Geist Honored Monk to look at cards that are actually in the format with it?
I mean, again, the format's going to be so different by the time this is relevant. But like right now, flying is really important.
Okay.
But yeah, like that is going to be the card to look at. I mean, this is also a reasonable pod creature.
Yeah. Again, pod rotates when the Titans do, so it's not a reasonable pod creature, because it's just worse than Titans as long as Titans exist.
Sure.
Alright, I can stop pretending this card's useful. It is probably one of the top very few rares in the set for limited.
Yes, it's a bona fide bomb for limited.
Yep.
But besides that, not much application.
Yeah.
But it's sweet because it's a Lord, and Lords are sweet.
Yeah, and Captain's Call is sweet. It references Captain of the Watch very well.
Oh, now I get it. Yeah, it's it's good. Gerard in his pre-release deck had both of these and Bloodthorn Vampire.
Okay.
And was just comboing people out.
Okay.
I don't know, that was sweet.
Sure. I would probably play those cards if I had them.
He also curved the Crusader into it and then attacked for like 7.
Okay.
That was sweet.
Yeah. How good do you think Captain's Call is compared to like playing a guy?
In limited?
Yeah.
I want to say better because of Exalted.
Is it better or is it worse because of Exalted? Because you like can't really get all the power out of your guys. Like they're really bad attackers. Where if you just like play like a 2/3 flyer or play like a hill giant, then like you have a good attacker. Whereas like these things, like if you just want to battle, like
True.
you're not good with Exalted.
I mean, Exalted's like also. I don't know. Your Exalted guys don't play defense, right? Like your Aven Squire is not going to block.
Sure.
So like while you're attacking, and like Exalted's not that great at racing. Like Exalted's more of a blocking deterrent than a racing mechanic.
Okay.
Because like, if you send all of your guys, then you're probably going to do more damage than just Exalted. But if you attack with just an Exalted guy, then they have no good blocks.
Right.
So with Exalted, it's like harder to play defense, I guess is what I'm saying.
Alternatively, the creatures that have Exalted aren't great blockers, but but it's actually easier to play defense because you only need to commit one of your guys to attacking to still push a reasonable amount of damage, and you can have all your other guys back to block and make it difficult for your opponent to attack.
Sure.
Like you get, a significant amount of power without actually having to alpha strike.
Right.
It's funny that, we've played an entire set with Exalted and we're still debating the,
the
basics of how it impacts the
it.
game.
Yeah.
Which I think says good things as a mechanic and makes it a good choice for the thing to reprint.
Yeah, it's a sweet decision. I mean, I like it a lot better than Bloodthirst.
Yes. It's much less horrible than Bloodthirst, which is, painfully win more and, very, very punishing of missing land drops and
yeah.
But as for Captain's Call compared to playing a 3/3 hexproof guy, is that really what you want to be doing in your Exalted deck?
To me, with my Exalted deck, I've already decided on my captain, my champion.
What is it?
I don't know, probably a Pro Black Knight or an Aven Squire or a 2/3 flyer or something.
Sure. And so you just want
a bunch of guys.
your plan is to take advantage of the extremely powerful chump blocking mechanic.
Yes, pretty much. It's just Exalted for the reasons that I was saying. I don't think Exalted's that great at racing.
I just didn't know that there was anyone else in the world who liked chump blocking as much as I do.
I love chump blocking, man.
I've built a lot of constructed decks whose entire plan to win the game is to chump block until my opponent's dead. But I felt like most other people just weren't into that, so I'm impressed.
Yeah, no, I think it's sweet. It's like the best Angel's Mercy ever.
Sure. Is this raising your opinion of Angel's Mercy at all? If you realize that you just want to play cards to preserve your life total?
No. Because these actually trade with cards.
Do they?
Sometimes.
Not if your opponent has Exalted, right?
If your opponent has Exalted, this is 3 time walks.
Okay. Unless they have a champion that is a black guy with pro white or a flyer.
A flyer, yeah. The flyers are the hard ones. The pro guys again, I was playing white-green, so my green guys were big enough that their pro white guy couldn't really attack. But whenever they had a flyer, it went down to a racing situation every time, where I needed a trick on the last possible turn, and it's just sculpted in a way that he thinks he's winning the race, and then out of nowhere I barely win it.
Okay.
Because I couldn't deal with a flyer that had 2 or 3 Exalteds on it.
Sure.
I don't know how that story started, but it's sure finished.
So, I still think that Captain's Call is best in the not Exalted decks, where it's doing things other than chump blocking. Specifically, I think of it as a red-white card. And I think that the red-white tokens and trumpet blasts thing might really be a thing.
Is trumpet blast in this set?
Yeah.
Okay, I believe that. There's not that many swarm cards, right? There's no it's not
well, there's the bad trumpet blast in white, the +1 instead of +2/0.
Oh yeah. But it's not Avacyn Restored, where you have like the Kroon Striker and the humans get +1/+0.
Oh no, certainly not.
And
I mean,
the
it's not even
Malcontents,
like
or...
it's not even like Rise of the Eldrazi where you have like the raid bombardments and stuff.
Okay, it's really make your own storm, not like...
Well, I mean, so what it does have is it has like this and the dude with the squire, like the knight that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
And it has the dragon fodder reprint. There are a number of ways to make multiple creatures. And then there's like Crusader Roderick, who we're about to get to, and like I bet there are some other rewards you can find somewhere if you look for them. I don't know.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's keep going. Maybe we'll find one.
I just hope there aren't a bunch of psychopaths stealing my token generators for their exalted decks when I'm trying to build a swarm deck.
The true reason for downplaying Captain Skull's chump blocking abilities comes out. All right, Crusader, one of the few swarm cards. It's sweet with the other, like it curves right into Captain's Call, and it plays well with the Attended Knight. You know, it's like good with the commons.
Yeah, it's a good.
And it has interesting art.
Lex just loves Innistrad, but I don't know if she has something specific to mention about this one.
I mean, Innistrad, but aside from that, like if I'm really, really bad in this life and I die and have to be punished by being reborn as a human on Innistrad, I wouldn't mind being her. Or like, you know, being born as something awesome on Innistrad and looting her body for that like sweet outfit.
She's got like a little Captain Jack Sparrow thing going on.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Like,
but then she has like the leather on the inside. And at first I thought this was a cross she was holding up. It's actually a sword.
No, it's definitely a sword.
Yeah.
She is pretty explicitly Innistrad-y for a core set.
Yeah, no, she's even got a little Avacyn symbol in her hat. And
yeah.
It's an interesting decision.
Well, I mean, it's probably art that was commissioned
have
for
some
Avacyn
leftover
Restored
Innistrad art, and they're like,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're like, that doesn't
really just all of magic should be Innistrad.
Don't say that when we're back to Ravnica, you'll get hit. Yeah, I mean, this card's sweet. I don't really know what else to say about it.
I remember Keldon Warlord from back when I started playing, and I loved that guy, so...
Yeah. And it's definitely way more appropriate in white than red.
Yes, it doesn't actually make any sense in red now.
Oh, the times were different then.
Yeah. Alright. I guess we can move on.
Yep. Divine Favor.
Pretty busted.
Yeah. What do you think of this and Dark Favor from a design
Yeah, I heard your conversation with
Oh,
Pat
okay.
about
Damn, we're supposed to be listening so that I can quiz you on this stuff.
I mean, like...
Do you think the extra line of text is worth it from a design perspective? To sell...
I think that... Like, it's interesting because I think that it, makes a lot more... Like, it looks a lot better here, where, like, gaining 3 life is, like, a reason to play the card and a thing you can actually care about. Whereas, like, taking 1 damage, like, when you're evaluating the card, you're like, that kind of sucks. Oh, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't matter at all. Whereas, like, I've sided in Divine Favor because I needed to gain some life.
Right.
And, I wanted to do it upside.
I got Jerry to play Dark Favor. Good.
I actually, the article that just went up, or is going up tonight, depending on where you're viewing your Star City page, of mine, includes a list with some Dark Favors.
Are you putting it on creatures with Infect?
I am.
Guess who invented that?
Me.
This guy.
Both of us, independently.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I got Jerry like an open to put Dark Favors in his board because everyone had artifact removal, for his like last rides or whatever.
Yep.
So, so he was literally putting Dark Favors on Plague Stingers in like a top 8 match.
Yeah, like I was like thinking about Piston Sledge, and then I'm like, why don't I just Dark Favor?
Yeah.
To save him?
Yeah, if I'm already going this low, I might as well Dark Favor. Plus, the life loss doesn't matter when you're playing the Dark Favor mirror.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane, man.
Yeah,
But so, I mean, anyway, once I commit to, well, the life gain on Divine Favor is something I want there, and I'm, like, comfortable committing to that, then, like, I don't really mind giving it some kind of mirror on the other one.
Sure, that's a really good way to look at it, actually.
This card is worse than it used to be.
Go on.
Well, there's no Monk Idealist.
I don't know what that is.
It is the 3-mana 2/2 that returns an enchantment from your graveyard to your hand when it comes to play.
Ah.
That you could combo with your Dark Favor or Divine Favor.
Just go off on them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you've never done that. Usually you used your Merfolk Looter to discard Divine Favor, because why wouldn't you discard Divine Favor to Merfolk Looter?
Right.
You have a Divine Favor,
and then when you get it back, guess what you do with it?
Discard it again.
Discard it again.
Yeah. Oh, Oromancer. Sorry. I think Oromancer is the exact same card as Monk Idealist, but you're right. I guess that's what it was called.
Oromancer is a card I know.
Oh, okay. It's the same card as Idealist, but Monk Idealist is from Saga.
Oh, you're old.
I guess I didn't really notice that they changed the name when they did it.
You're old. Yeah, but it's a woman now.
Yeah, sure.
You think there's a female monk?
I mean, if you say so. I have no idea. I just know that it's a 3-mana 2/2 that returns an enchantment.
It's like, I don't know if it's actually Rebecca Gway, but the art looks like it's Rebecca Gway.
Yeah, I'm sure it has a picture.
And
I hate you.
Yeah, see, now for her benefit, don't worry, we're stopping the whole cast. We're gonna find this Oromancer. Yeah, it's a woman, and yeah, it's Rebecca Gway. Wow, I'm a genius. See, do you see it?
Yeah, that's the card I was talking about.
Yeah, it's a female. Is that a monk? Does that look like a monk?
To
you,
sure.
Sam?
Dude, I don't know.
She might be like the monk of Floofy Blue Streamers.
There you go.
Is that like stained glass behind her? I don't know.
That picture's tiny. I cannot see that thing at all.
There you go. I blew.
Here. I can blow up AJ's stream temporarily so that you can see it.
What is this symbol? What set is
I
this?
could totally interpret that.
That's the
headscarf
plane
as
chase
some kind
symbol.
of wimple. She could be clergy.
A monk? I don't know. When I think monk, I think of like bald dudes with long robes and stuff.
Definitely with robes.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything else about monks, but they probably have robes.
If I had to guess, if I was a gambling man, I'd put my money on robes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I would do that thing.
All right, yeah. Divine Favor. Your approach sounds sound.
You mean to justifying its 3 life?
Yes. Well, to justifying Favor more.
Sure.
Because yeah, like losing 1 life is, like it's less.
You're just like, this card wasn't good to begin with. Why are you taxing me a life?
Yeah, exactly. But I liked, or I didn't mind it because it sells black, like flavor-wise.
Sure.
Which is good for a core set card like that.
Yeah.
But Patrick was saying he wasn't sure that the extra line of text was
just
worth
that
it.
Unholy Strength versus Holy Strength did it well enough to begin with and stuff like that. And
Right.
I agree that those certainly did it well enough. But I just have no problem with Divine Favor as a card, just in terms of its gameplay.
Yeah,
stuff.
well, yeah, exactly. And like you said, people have found ways to play Dark Favor, and so having them actually be relevant, somewhat relevant in actual gameplay.
Oh, I mean, people have played Unholy Strength.
Yeah, but to have a card that is situationally actually playable does help to further your point,
Sure.
You can print the most flavorful card ever, but if no one's interested in playing it, then...
Oh, so as long as we're talking about Unholy Strength and the Dark Favor in Constructed, what do you think about Dark Favor versus Predator's Gambit in Infect in Constructed?
What's Predator's Gambit?
It's the like Unholy Strength, where if it's your only guy, it has Intimidate.
What are all your guys are 1 power, right?
You probably have Phyrexian Crusader,
Um,
and you also probably have the Exalted Land.
Exalted Land, Mutagenics,
Yeah,
or Vines or anything like that.
yeah, Mutagenics.
Um, the math makes me want to say that Dark Favor's better.
Yeah, but what does math know?
uh, it's it just depends on how often.
What if you're also playing Homicidal Seclusion? Just hypothetically.
Well, at that point, for fleet reasons, you got to go with
The Gambit.
Yeah. No, it all depends on like the blockability of your creatures in a given format, right?
Sure.
Like, if the guys aren't being blocked anyway, or if the like guys that are gonna be blocking are the same color as the guys that are being possibly getting intimidate, it's like super contextual. But I do think that when you're attacking with ones and having mutagenic growth, like the difference between +3 and +2 is a full turn both ways.
Okay.
Like it's a full turn on +2/+1. Because it's like 3, 6, 9, then you're dead.
Sure.
Or 4, 8, you're dead, and then
right.
4, 8/2.
Okay.
You get like another turn out of it, or I guess you don't, because it would be you do, because you can't kill from 3 to 6 anyway.
All right. I think that we are maybe boring the people who are listening to us by spending too much time on these cards. So maybe we should try to go faster.
Well, we're not even talking about the cards now. We're talking about constructed decks. Very playable, strong, powerful constructed decks.
Yeah. Awesome decks that everyone's thinking about playing and just know how to build properly.
The future of the metagame. You guys pay attention. Divine Verdict. I enjoy having neck snaps in formats.
Yes, I like not attacking into neck snaps.
Yes, it makes me feel very powerful.
Yes. They're not very good.
They're not very good, and people like play them face up. Well, it's hard not to when it costs 4.
Right.
And it's like a good way to, even though it's not good, like I feel like it's always better for me than it is for them.
Okay.
Because like they play with theirs face up and they refuse to play around mine. Okay. And it's one of the few ways that you have to like deal with a bomb.
Right. Though this set is relatively light on horrific bombs that you have to be able to verdict, I think.
Yeah, but there's always a couple.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly good to have hits.
Yeah, and I do like the one-word flavor text.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be forced to say that whenever you play that card. In a menacing voice. Guilty!
Or Oracle text. You must say guilty.
I think more like unoracle text.
Yeah. Yeah, this card's sweet.
Yeah.
Erase.
I'm glad they gave us a way to like deal with Rancor cast on a hexproof creature but jumping off a cliff.
Yes.
That said, I don't know how different casting Erase is from jumping off a cliff.
Well, you need to answer your opponent's divine favors somehow.
Yeah, that's not true.
This way they can't Oromancer it back.
Oh, it does shut down the Oromancer and the Monk Idealist.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a matter of time, right? Like, they just dance around these designs, like you have Demystify, and then you have the one that costs 2 but gains 2 life, and then...
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly glad they switched to Erase from Demystify, especially while bringing back Rancor.
Right.
Alright.
Have you considered the problem that picture and flavor is basically an explicit rip from Disney's Beauty and the Beast, and like this sweet beast is becoming an annoying dude because you're ripping away the enchantment that turns his cool dark castle into like a boring light castle.
A boring normal castle.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
More talking teacups, fewer annoying toddlers. You can move on.
no. I don't mind the ripoff because I actually like ripoffs in Magic because it's like not homages, but like it's being able to make reference to pop culture or like real life tropes like they did in Innistrad. I think that's awesome for Magic. It makes it way more accessible for people, and it's just like I don't know. I think it's good for the game. So if that is what they're doing, then I think it's sweet.
I basically agree with everything that you just said, but I need to uphold my bias against white.
Wow, racist. Okay, I didn't realize we had a bigot on the line.
I mean, a magic flavor, like, if the castle was turning all dark and creepy, I'd be for it.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be erasing the enchanting.
Well, maybe it was a dark, creepy castle enchanted by some angels.
I have homework for you. Design the black enchantment that is the rose that makes it a beast.
Yes. Yes, I will do that for you.
Alright, I want to see it. Until then, we'll move on to Face Reward, which is a card I'm going to need to read.
Okay. It's Second Sunrise, but only for you. Spoiler alert.
Hey! How dare you spoil? Hey, did eggs need more Second Sunrises?
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
I've been told maybe. In that I had a friend who was working on it and seemed a little bit excited about it and was planning to play some Faith Rewards, but I really don't know if that's actually a deck.
I mean, it isn't, but...
Another one of my friends said he tried testing it online and it was not playable because he could not click enough before running out of time.
Yeah, you can't play it on Moto.
Okay. It's just literal impossible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does this have any... I mean, there's not even a Wrath of God to... It's not planar
it's
cleansing.
All permanence, so it's super good against the 6-mana thing.
You know, if you have a 6-mana... Oh, yeah, the planar cleansing.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a Goblin Bombardment...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the card just seems like it might have some random combo application at some point, but...
Did they reprint Chocolate Hops? Can we get to 10 and get them?
Well, there's the one that costs 9 or whatever.
Oh, Worldfire or whatever?
Yeah, but that exiles them, doesn't it?
Yes.
Rats. Rats. We got so close. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you get to you like ghost quarter your own land and get a land, and then cast this off that land, and you get your 2 lands back, so you're +1 land.
All right. Yeah, I mean, like
that's value, right?
Sure. I mean,
it's like a lay of the land.
I think it's better than Second Sunrise, and Second Sunrise did things. So, like, even if Eggs isn't good enough in Modern or whatever, like, we don't know for sure that we won't end up finding, like, a combo deck with this in Standard.
Right.
And, like, the fact that, you know, if you can find something that, like, sweeps any kind of permanent for a reasonable, like, casting cost, you can theoretically, like, do that and this and sweep theirs and not yours.
Right.
And, like, if you can just, like, have a massive combat occur where all of your guys and their guys die, then you get your guys back and they don't get theirs. That kind of thing doesn't really happen when you're playing Magic.
Right.
But, like, it would be sweet if it did.
There's also...
So it's, like, a good one to keep in mind for Mental Magic.
Wow, we are stretching.
Not that you ever end up with a crowded board in that format.
The other day, Patrick and I actually spoke for 2 or 3 whole minutes on EDH, so... Now,
yeah, this is a sick card in EDH.
Yeah, now we're going to branch off into Mental Magic. We got everyone covered. What do you think about Iron Man Pack Wars? It's not very good, right? Because Iron Man, you gotta rip up your cards.
No, it's really bad in Iron Man.
Yeah, like, I definitely think that its most obvious use is going to be in a combo deck that I don't know if the pieces exist right now outside of Legacy Eggs, but or I guess Eggs in Modern?
Yeah.
Yeah. maybe that's a thing. I don't know. But the one use I can sort of think of, besides, big combats and stuff, is if you have a way to ultimate to minus ability a planeswalker and then get it back and use it again.
Okay. So it can be a 4-mana planeswalker if and only if you've managed to kill your own planeswalker for value?
Yes.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know what planeswalkers are going to exist. It might have some application.
Sure. Alright, let's move on.
Okay. Glorious Charge.
Yeah, this is the thing that I was talking about that's like the bad Trumpet Blast for your token deck.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. Especially because I feel like, I don't know about this crazy token deck you have brewing, but I feel like Exalted is going to be sort of the cornerstone of the more expensive archetypes.
Sure, particularly in white,
Yes.
which has Exalted.
Correct. Which then makes this not so great.
Yeah, I mean, the card was most recently in Dark Ascension?
Maybe. It was pretty recently, but...
Break a Day?
Yeah.
And it was like, sometimes you need a trick, and sometimes it's like kind of Swedish, but most of the time you don't end up actually getting to justify playing it.
Right.
I think Glorious Charge is about like that.
Yeah, that's fair. It's also a card that, like, we're going to have to see, if the format's all 2/3s attacking into each other or something, which isn't the case, but, if the power and toughnesses line up where if +1/+1 is enough, then maybe it'll be good.
Sure.
Just as, like, a double, if you attack with a 3/3 and a 2/3 into two 3/3s or whatever, then this card existing means they have to double one.
Okay.
I don't know. Who's thinking of uses for it?
Sure.
It's also good that it costs the same as the +2/+4. Not good in the Magic sense, but good
Right,
for
it just
this
means
card.
that you're bluffing two different tricks or whatever.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, not much else to say. Griffin Protector, this card's sweet.
Yes. It's also nice that, there are some things that put multiple creatures into play for it.
Yep. It's in the same color as a bunch of cheap guys.
I telegraphed the, like, flash guy with this thing as hard as one possibly can at a pre-release. But,
Guy's
like,
still
my
blocked.
opponent was just, like, attacking with a 1/1 with double Exalted into it, and he's like, I might as well make sure you actually have it.
Yeah,
I did
check.
have it.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought
lost
this
his
story was
momentum.
going to end with you, like, losing a race because this guy was just inexplicably attacking into your obvious trick.
No.
That's
You
a
just-
shame. I was rooting for that imaginary guy in that
He was
story.
just
you
willing to
just
put a
told.
token in the graveyard. But it is cool that there, exist flash creatures and there exist, like, double creatures and stuff to make this guy extra sweet.
Yep. And flying is huge in Exalted set / color, and a 3-bot is, like, perfect for...
Yeah, it just has
the
great
turn it comes
numbers
into play.
for his
Yeah.
cost for limited anyway.
Yep, he's very good.
Yeah.
Guardian Lions. Not so good.
Well, I think the most important question with this guy is
Where did
how
you
does
get
it
that
compare
headgear?
to Siege Mastodon, or Costa's World, how does it compare to Tamiyo?
Well, Siege Mastodon, it can carry some weight, man. That Mukau likes to fight.
This guy has Vigilance.
I get it, man. 3 power is a lot in core sets.
But 6 toughness. They have to have a lot of Exalted to break through that.
That's true, or, like you said, anything with evasion, or pro-white.
Sure.
Like, I think the difference between 3 power and 1 power is way bigger than the difference between 6 toughness and 5 toughness. Vigilance aside.
I agree that in basically every card ever that has more than 1 toughness, 2 power is worth more than 1 toughness.
Alright. You saying Vigilance might be worth more than that?
Vigilance is a nice ability.
I wanna-
say that much.
I want to talk to Lex about this guy's headgear, though, for a second.
Okay.
If I could.
Wait, are we talking Guardian Lions?
Yeah.
Because that card looks awesome. Like, it looks like something out of the role-playing game Exalted. If I were, a Sun King, I would have those dudes guard my gigantic ego-boosting castle.
Do people in these universes, like when they go through a midlife crisis, do they buy a bunch of castles and Guardian Lions?
Yeah, like, and the
Get thrills for
castles
them?
are explicitly, like, made entirely of gold.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they sit on, like, extraordinarily uncomfortable thrones,
right.
and
And
they,
there's a bunch of like phallic-looking railings and
yeah, I mean, depends on your character,
a
but
Porsche
generally.
outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than the next castle in this Guardians of Akrasa or something, which is basically made out of Pope hats. And I'm not really sure who decides to build a castle out of Pope hats.
Well, the Ku Klux Klan, of course.
Oh, good point.
The Clan's Pope hat castle.
The classic trope of the Pope Hat Castle. Yeah, Guardians is a sweet card. Like I said, I think Exalted's relatively bad at racing. Anything with Exalted's going to be good, and one that can play defense is even better.
Do you like this more or less than the same but tap to prevent damage instead of Exalted?
I like it more.
Okay. Bugs, yes. The idea wasn't that the clan in general is big on Pope hat castles. It was that the dudes in Guardian of Akrasa look sort of like they're in the clan, and their castle looks sort of like it's made of Pope hats.
Sam, we don't have to explain those to these people. Yeah, I think that Exalted, like, it just stacks so well. Like,
Yes, Exalted does work well with other Exalted. You're saying?
yeah, but,
Okay.
like, Prevent 1 doesn't really, I don't know.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you like Exalted more than Samite Healer Wall?
Yeah. I like attacking more than preventing damage.
Okay. I think Samite Healer Wall is pretty good, but I think there
It is. I mean, I don't mind it. I liked it more when damage stacked, but Exalted's just sweet.
Sure. Healer of the Pride.
Oh, this card's awesome too.
Yeah, you should scroll down if you haven't.
I did.
Okay, cool. I'm just behind you in the stream.
Yeah, there's like a 10-second delay.
Yeah.
Yet another card that's very hard to race,
It is not easy to race this card.
and I think that this format is relatively racy.
How early do you think you're going to be taking Healer of the Pride?
Well, the 4 slot is pretty glutted, or at least for white.
Are you going to take this over the 2/3 flyer?
I feel like no.
It hurts that it's only under your control, not under their control, so it actually only gains you about as much life as a Soul Warden.
Right.
So like it looks like it's a double Soul Warden, but it isn't.
Right. But it actually fights.
It does block. I don't know how often I'm going to be swinging with it.
Exalted, man, everything. Everyone takes their turn as the champion.
Sure.
Is this, Lex, is this one of the furries you were talking about?
Well, I mean, with this one, it's more... Okay, I understand she keeps giving you lives, so you should feel some gratitude toward her and maybe try not to hurt her feelings. But it will probably be in her interest on the long term to, like, learn that shaving her torso, nothing else, was a questionable decision.
Yeah, Mom. Tell me how to live my life. You don't know what it's like to be my
More
age.
power to you if that's
You
what
don't
you
know
want
what
to
it's
do.
like to be my age.
Like, just randomly shave your abs and, like, but...
Everyone's doing it. You want me to be a loser?
No, you can shave your abs all you want as long as you keep giving me life. You're right. I respect her position.
That is an interesting stylistic choice. Oh, it looks like her arms are shaven too. Her biceps, but not her forearms, or her forearms have like
She's wearing like gauntlet-y.
she's got like
her
bracers
forearms.
on her arms.
Okay, so is she just like a person with like a glued-on cheetah head?
No,
Because
she's
it's a really unnatural angle. Like maybe someone just took her head off and balanced a cat head on top of it.
I feel like they're supposed to be like half human or part human.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. They're furries, but I mean,
They're not furries. Furries are people who dress up or who are 100% human who then dress up as
no,
animals.
furries are definitely that and the objects of the furry's affection. It means two. It means two
Oh,
things.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for that. I'm not gonna Google it. She lives in a cool treehouse too. Just throwing that out there.
So what was the verdict on this thing versus the flyer? I think it's probably a little worse.
Yeah, I think it's a little worse, but I think it's really good.
Yep.
Just not as good as a super like a great statted evasive creature.
Sure. How do you feel about heroes?
A lot of them are pretty intrepid. Okay, so the little guy that he just slayed looks like the guy from the Neverending Story.
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay, I just have to get that out there.
Yes, he definitely murdered some dude from the Neverending Story.
Yeah. This guy is sweet. It's actually seen some constructive play in the past.
How do you feel about it with Rancor?
Yeah, I was gonna say Rancor and a Johnny.
Sure.
Pump their guy, kill it.
I like doing it with Rancor more.
Well, yeah, it's a lot faster and cleaner.
And you don't waste a Planeswalker activation on their guy.
Well, what are you gonna do? Make this thing a 2/2, so that the next turn you can jump him and hit for 4?
I don't know. I'd be on my other guys.
No, man. Just keep doing. Just kill their guys and then make a bunch of kitties.
All right. So, T Murdoch raises an interesting question. How much do you like this thing in limited, where it's insane against some decks and kind of brickish in other places?
I mean, it's still really good.
It gets really awkward for them if they have too much Exalted.
Yeah. Too much Exalted, or if you have a Rancor or a pump spell, it turns your pump spell into sort of a weird removal spell.
Yeah.
And you can. This is like a weird, a thing that's hard to articulate. Like, you are not. Even if this doesn't directly kill a card, if you're preventing them from having a guy of a certain size, even though you're technically down a card because a 1/1 isn't worth a lot, like, there's still a ton of value in that.
Sure, you just like this thing plus a 4 toughness dude equals they can't break through.
Right, it's just like this weird sort of insurance.
Yeah.
Against a huge guy that would otherwise be a problem.
Yeah.
And then
Scooch brings up the interesting point that this dude's foot is on fire. Also, I'm pretty sure his sword weighs more than he does.
No, but it makes sense that his foot is on fire, because look at the flavor text. He's trying to show no fear, and so he did that by setting his foot on fire, so he'd have a legitimate excuse to be like, "Rah!
Yeah, look,
I'm not
he's
afraid
like,
of you!
He's like
My foot's on fire!"
He's like grimacing. It's like it's like when you need to not laugh, and so you put a pin in your shoe.
Yeah, exactly. It's a heroic foot fire.
Heroic foot fire.
I mean, he's probably not very smart. He's just a 1/1.
Well, his weaponry is like pretty insane. Like, how is this guy 1/1? He looks like a samurai from the future.
Well, I assume he can barely move his gigantic sword.
He's got like full-on Shogun armor, and then this like spiky sword thing, and his shield is massive. I don't know. I feel like this
Well,
is...
presumably he had like more toughness before he took some fire damage.
He's burning.
Yeah.
You gotta get him some, Damn it! I had it. I had that Pokemon joke ready to go. I forgot the item you used to stop a thing from burning.
Sorry, can't help.
I'm sorry, chat. I failed you. This guy's sweet, and again, it's all going to come back to Exalted. Every card that I'm looking at, I'm thinking in a world of Exalted. It doesn't matter that this thing can't fight when you're only attacking with one guy a turn anyway.
Sure. So this glorious knight.
Yeah. Were you?
Dude, I totally disagree with you and P. Silly about the name thing, where you were saying that it was like bad that it wasn't like Knight of Fame. Like glory is totally about fame. Like I'm totally fine with glory and infamy being like used as opposites.
Yeah, but it's not like a linguistic thing. It's like an etymology thing. Like we want them to literally be the same root word. Directly mirrored.
Such an awkward situation where it's the same root word because, like, it's like I don't like the same thing with a suffix in black, you know?
Yeah. Or
prefix rather.
It's like awkward to talk about the cards.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't like that it's like, well, we have thing and explicitly anti-thing, like we get
especially because they can't interact.
Yeah.
Like maybe if they could at least interact, we could have them be mirrors of each other. But since they're literally
well, no, I mean like I'm fine with like White Knight and Black Knight. I just don't want like White Knight and Unwhite Knight, you know?
All right, I accept. For anyone who doesn't realize, these guys are insane.
Yeah. How much better than White Knight do you think this guy is?
Dramatically?
Do you think he would be better than White Knight even at White?
Yes.
Do you think that people can finally cut every single White Knight variant from their cube and just put this guy in?
I mean, that's been the for a while.
Alright, good.
There's been so many better versions of those cards.
Yeah.
And this one is, definitely up there. It's quite good.
Yeah. But is it better than Sigil Paladin?
I don't know what that is.
The 2/2 first strike exalted for 2 for white.
Oh, that thing was so good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pro Black was super relevant for me in Sealed.
You played against black decks.
Yeah, a lot of them. And like everyone around me playing black too, just because like, that's the nature of Sealed.
Sure.
And I was doing things like putting Rancor on it, which I wouldn't feel comfortable doing with a first striker. But
I actually really like putting Rancor on first strikers.
Me too, but I'd rather have it be Pro Black.
Alright. I'd just put it on a first striker while they're tapped out and just kill them.
Well, that's convenient.
Yeah. I mean, play better.
I put it on this thing when he had the pre-release promo card out, the Gorgon.
Alright.
That was pretty
sweet.
And then
Killed him?
Yeah, and then he just died. He's like, my ultimate bomb. He like swapped out. He was playing with his pre-release promo. I was like, you can't play with that, right? And he like goes through his
like, no.
He's like, no, I have a normal one. This one's just sweet. It's like, all right, if you weren't an idiot, I'd think you were cheating. But yeah, really good. So is the black one, but the white one there.
Sure.
And 2-drops are super important, as usual.
Yeah, especially when they have Exalted.
Yes. Oblivion Ring.
Yeah. We've played with this one before, right?
Yeah. I like its existence.
Alright. Cool.
It makes sure you're never just drawing dead to any random thing.
Rick?
I had one of these guys, and by the time I got it active, he was dead anyway. Like,
okay.
His abilities seems awesome, but it's super win more.
Yeah, but it's also just a 3/4 first strike for 4, so yes, it's never that bad.
Yes, it's huge. And
this is another dude who's from. I guess it makes sense that he's from Innistrad, given that his Crusader's from Innistrad.
Yeah. And look at his little.
Right, the sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like from a design perspective, like the ability is pretty cool. Like I can understand why casuals would really think that that's awesome. You're like, I block for you. And flavorfully, it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like in actual semi-competitive gameplay, it was super Winmore because
Sure.
a 3-4 first strike was already
Right, but I mean,
probably
like anytime you're in like a legitimate like board stalemate type thing, like
right.
this is like the best possible way to break through.
Right. That is the only situation that he's really great in, which actually happens, or I would imagine would happen, um, in core set more than a normal set.
Except that they're moving core sets into being more like normal sets, and
Right. Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
Exalted to like make games actually end because playing Exalted dudes is hard, etc., etc.
Right. Um, but I mean, Exalted doesn't actually get you dead that fast because of chump block ability.
Right, right, right.
So
But it does keep the board small, which is bad for this guy
yeah,
because they're jump
you
blocking.
want to talk about token cards? You follow this up with a captain's call.
Yeah, then they die
Yeah, they're
because
they're in
you
trouble.
get to cast Master Warcraft every turn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sweet card. It definitely um, has its applications in limited. It's just like felt win more for me a lot because a 3-4 was big enough that I was ahead anyway, and if I had three other guys, then they were just dead, and I didn't need
So we
to.
agree that he wins a lot.
Yes,
Yeah,
maybe too much.
I did beat him and the King of the Watch in the same game.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that Tolerance Invocation card is really stupid.
What's it do?
Makes two Drakes for 4.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So you just raced it,
Well, I mean, I think I killed Odric.
right? And then
Um,
like he died like the turn after he caps the captain.
or the turn that Odric had played. Oh, you mean like I think I may have actually just killed both of the big dudes.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even remember
I saw
what build I
somebody
had.
clone this, and then they like kept both in play. They're like, "All right, I'm gonna get you next turn because I have more guys."
Cool.
Yeah, it's like it reminds me of Okay, story time. Um, right after Mind Sculptor was printed, um, some Iowans who had all but quit to play poker, um, were actually like testing for an upcoming Grand Prix, or maybe it was just a PTQ, and it was uh, like right after Mind Sculptor was printed. And so Brandon Shield walks in, and I want to say it was Clayton Mooney and Cheeks
Sure.
were testing, and Shield walks in, and one of them has a Mind Sculptor on like 9, and the other one has a Bellerin on like 7. And there's like, man, these like Jace Wars are so weird. Like it's such a weird sub game. Shield like just didn't say anything. He's just like, yeah, let me know how that goes. It's like went and made himself a tortilla or something.
Yeah, I mean, at that point the game's totally repairable, so you
Yeah.
might as well let him have their and let him know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, pass.
We've played this one before.
Yeah. Pillarfield Ox. Moo.
Not actually allowed to say anything else about that card.
Moo.
But
Planar
Draw a
Cleansing.
picture without any penises in it.
Oh,
That's
we had moved
accomplishment.
on to the Pillar Fox where we just said moo. Did you want to talk about Vaspism?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
It's not Innistrad art.
What?
I thought you said it was Innistrad art.
What?
No,
No.
no. She
This
was
one is.
shocked that Robert Bliss managed to draw a card without any penis in it.
Oh. I don't know. It's a close call. I bet this isn't the full piece.
Oh, I
Is what
see.
I'm
You're
saying.
saying
I bet it was
cropped it at the
gratuitously
exact right
cropped.
point.
Yeah.
Robert Bliss never draws penises where penises go.
How do you know?
Because I looked at all his cards.
I don't know, there's like some weird phallic things in the background. You could.
No, you have to stretch for it. That doesn't count.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Moo.
Yep.
Planar Cleansing.
Yep.
It's interesting.
If this is all we get for a sweeper, I don't know if we're going to play sweepers in our white decks.
Right. It's interesting that Wrath is no longer the industry standard.
Yeah.
I don't know what what sort of applications do you think this has on Constructed?
Um, I mean, I don't think it's gonna see a lot of play. I didn't really see any the first time around. Like you have to like your control decks are kind of into planeswalkers these days, right?
Yep.
Like, so I mean,
Well, I mean, this follows suit with the push to making spells almost irrelevant, having the whole game just be creatures versus creatures.
sure.
And you know, Wrath, a 4-mana Wrath kind of messes with that
Yeah.
because it actually lets people like.
I'm
Wrath
guessing you
and
didn't
then-
read Sheldon's article where he talked about M13 for EDH.
You would be accurate in assuming that I did not read Sheldon Menry's EDH article.
All right, that was probably a good choice because I'm pretty sure that his conclusion on planar cleansing was because they keep printing more good cards, people will eventually play this because it kills cards.
Wow. Not exactly the way it works.
Like eventually they'll print enough good cards that you're going to want to kill them all.
Basically, you're going to print so many good cards that you're going to want to play bad cards instead of the good cards also.
Well, no, you need to be able to kill these sweet new cards they're printing.
It's a little backwards logic, but I do appreciate cards like this that are like semi-iconic, just not having flavor text.
Sure.
I am a big fan of Murder just saying destroy target creature.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although I do think that this planar cleansing needs a reminder text saying even your own.
Really?
All right,
I hope that's not true.
moving on to Elephant. I like this cycle a lot. I don't know if you heard Patrick and me talking about it, but I don't know, it's sweet.
Yeah, I mean the cycle. This is the weakest link for constructed, and it's like kind of unfortunate that the weakest card in the cycle is like the green-white one because those are like
The colors that need it the most.
well, and just like the ones that deserve to have a sweet dude, right?
Yeah,
like, in theory.
Yeah. No, I agree, and the fact that it's just yet another 4-drop in limited. I don't know.
It's like
Also, what
pretty
makes him so
exciting.
prized, right? Prized Unicorn had lure.
Where's the prize here?
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you kill it, you get, all of its gold jewelry.
Yeah, they're totally screwing up the flavor of what prized means in Magic.
Yeah.
That's
I don't like
upsetting.
it. I don't like it. Rain of Blades.
Yeah, do you like that they put this in a place where it's like explicitly worse than it would be normally?
Yeah. It's pretty
Okay.
cute of them.
Yeah, because like normally it's so overpowered.
I'm fine with this card existing in this context, I guess. I don't know. I don't really.
Okay.
I don't really think that it's a problematic card for.
I don't think it's a very interesting card.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like
So Rhino Monks?
fair enough. Wow, he's literally a Rhino Monk.
Yeah.
Was whatchamacallit 3/4 lifelink a Rhino Monk?
You wait, 3.
The pancake flipper?
Oh, I don't know.
Rock's War Monk? I guess he would be, since his name
Yeah,
is
he's
Rock's
got to
War
be a
Monk.
Rhino Monk.
Yeah. I had this guy in my pool and didn't play it. 4-drops are just so glutted.
Interesting.
Um,
You
I-
didn't have a million Sunstrikers, did you?
I had one Sunstriker,
Okay.
and my deck was like super aggressive. It was just like all 2-drops in Rancor, and I had
Okay.
so many 4-drops already that this guy hit the bench.
Okay.
He was like second to last cut, but I mean, it seems really good.
Did you ever board him in?
I never had to, but I was like prepared to.
Did you ever against red?
One, and it was not an aggressive deck by any
Okay.
means.
Sure.
It was like blue, red, black. You know,
Oh,
try
okay.
and,
It was
try
like a
and kill all your guys.
Grixis deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was definitely prepared to board at any point. It just never
Sure.
came up. I think that in draft, when the decks are more refined, it's going to be better.
Yeah, because you can like use it to get to powerful late game spells or whatever, where you like
Right.
actually draft a control deck and buy time with it and stuff.
Right. And their like racing capabilities are going to be a lot better for your, you know, if you're just doing the exalt thing or attacking with a bunch of flyers or whatever. Like in sealed, it's pretty easy to win a race because everyone's cards are so bad.
Sure.
I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like as the decks become more lean, this card becomes better.
Okay.
And I think that
I mean, certainly once you get decks that like you can have decks that are super focused on doing things that this guy just beats.
right. Safe passage. Yet
I'm glad
another
to have
card.
this one back.
Huh?
I'm glad to have this one back.
Yeah, same. It's
like a card with so much blowout potential, but like it never actually is that great because, I mean, it's a fog sort of,
right.
but like,
Well, there's like
it's like a playable fog, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, there's like a blaze and an earthquake, both at instants in this set. So it's nice to have for those. There's also like the lava axe in this set deals 1 to all your guys.
Yeah.
So it's good against that. It's just like good to have, you know, something. And there's the lure overrun.
Okay.
I don't know. When you have a bunch of those cards, it's nice that there's an answer.
Yeah.
And one that has applications.
Yeah.
I played this. I had this in my main deck and boarded it out almost every round.
Okay.
For a plummet.
Okay.
I mean, I was happy with it, and you know, if I played against any of those 6 cards that I really wanted against, I would have been glad I had it.
Right.
It just didn't happen to come up.
Sure.
Sarah Angel. Sarah Angel.
Yep. Still awesome and limited.
See, what's good about this is that it has flying, so it can attack without likely dying in combat, and then vigilance, so that even though it attacked, it also gets the block.
Yeah, it's also pretty good with Exalted.
It plays both sides of the ball. You know,
Yeah.
it's a real hard worker. It's got some hustle in it.
Yeah, I think I would take it over most of the cards.
Mm-hmm.
I would even take it over Sarah Avatar.
Me too. This card is not good.
I am not happy to see it back at Mythic.
Yeah, I just realized it's Mythic. You want to explain why you don't like it at Mythic?
It's not that interesting. I was kind of stupid the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know, like it's always been a pretty boring card to me. Like, for some reason people thought it was like flashy the first time around, but I just never got it. And I mean, like I was a little kid when it came out, and I still never got it. But
I mean, I think that most casuals think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
It's just, it feels like you don't want that card to be this, like the big splashy giant angel-esque thing.
Yeah, the like, I don't know, like, check out this sweet card we reprinted. Like, I mean, they've been doing this for a long time where they just like reprint creatures that used to be a big deal and they're just like completely unplayable, and it's like
Yeah.
they've been reprinted only to be embarrassed and outclassed and to show how much like power creep there is in creatures.
Right.
It's just like super awkward.
Well, when they reprinted Hypnotic
don't really know
Spectre,
why they keep doing it.
when they reprinted Hypnotic Spectre, it saw a ton of play, so they just kept doing it, and everyone since then has been unplayable.
Yeah.
Like it's a fine card to have around, I guess. It's just like when.
Are you looking forward to the day when they reprint Morphling as a mythic?
Oh, brother. Without damage stacking. and with no, but the thing about this is like, look at Avacyn and Iona, you know, just like
Yeah. Or like at the same cost, you could be casting Elishnorn for like
yeah,
easier mana
yeah, and those cards have like
impact.
right and are just as, if not way more splashy,
Yeah.
like way more little kid value
Yeah.
from a design
I
perspective.
mean, like, I could see them like, obviously they wouldn't, but like, I could see this thing as an uncommon or something. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with it as rare. I don't.
yeah. And I think, I think if they really wanted to reprint it, they should have just made it rare.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how hard they want to be. Like, this was a sweet card from before, now it's back, and it's all like mythic because it was like, you know, a card of legendary power the first time around or something. It's just not. Like, no one's that impressed.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even gonna like fool anyone into thinking it's like super splashy. Like, it's ugh.
Yeah. I mean, you know, maybe they know something we don't.
I mean, I certainly have never understood the people who get into this card, so maybe.
Another Sarah card, Avenger. Talk about cards that are kind of embarrassing. Now this thing trades with a 1-drop after you've taken 9.
I mean, that's one way to look at it.
I thought this card was crap the first time around, and we had remakes to cast with it on 4.
Sure.
Like that
So I
Flores
take it
deck.
you're not a big fan of it in Legacy, where some people play it.
Yeah, no, it's a giant joke. If I could steal a James, who was it? It wasn't James Gates. It was Stephen King. He goes, I don't play a lot of Legacy, but every time I do, whenever my opponent plays a Mother of Runes against me, I take it personally, like they're just insulting me. Like, really, dude? You think
Like, did they think that card could possibly beat you?
Yeah, like, you think that's enough to beat me? Like, that's what you brought to the table? You thought, like, oh, this guy? Yeah, I only need a Mother Runes to beat him. Take that to the extreme, and you have Sarah Avenger.
Yeah, I can see it with Sarah Avenger much more than I can see it with Mother of Runes. I actually think Maverick's a pretty good deck.
Well,
but...
when he said that, Maverick was not a deck yet.
Okay.
But I will disagree with you in that Maverick's a good deck, because it's complete shit.
Ben Stark was able to win with it.
Oh, shocking! I
didn't think that would sell you.
Yeah, the old ham sandwich argument strikes again. Yeah, Sarah Avenger, not that best, but people like it, and it's awesome.
It's much less embarrassing than the Avatar.
Yeah, that's true, and it's sweet and limited.
Yes.
It's cool that we have, Sarah's at uncommon, rare, and mythic.
Sure.
That's all I got.
So I like that we're getting pretty close to being able to play a standard deck that's nothing but lands and 2-mana white instants that give creatures 2 more power.
Well, it's weird, right? I think that this card being printed is cool, but I think that this should have been printed alongside Giant Growth, not Titanic Growth, so that it's not just a full-blown outclassing nonsense.
Well, they just want you to understand that green is better at pump spells than white.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I think the stat difference and the mana difference between 3/3 for 1 mana and 2/4 for 2 mana is enough to get that point across.
Sure.
And I had this in my deck, and multiple times I was like, well, this is going to be embarrassing if he has Titanic Growth.
Oh wow, I didn't even think about how bad it is for you when you're like, gotcha, and they're like,
yeah. Yeah, they just hold up one finger in your face. Hold please, 1 moment, and they have a response. Yeah, it's I think that 2/4 is a cool way to do this. Just like make it up,
Sure.
I think that +2/+2 and strike is stupid. I think that +2/+0 in first strike was cool.
Okay.
And I think +2/+4 without first strike is cool.
Sure. I'm glad this one doesn't give first strike. I
Yes.
can agree with that. Even though that would make it not strictly worse than Titanic Growth.
Right. But it's still like you can't give it more toughness than power in first strike. Like this like woman or 80s rock star that's saving this little boy does not look like they are ready to attack first. Like they're ready to, you know.
Yeah, it does not look like a first striker.
No, it does not look like they're ready to get the first blow in there. Sweet war paint though.
Oh, I was assuming they were scars, but that's possibly because they're the exact same scars that Lin Beifong has in Legend of Korra. But, like, it doesn't make sense that she's wearing armor, because the flavor of this card is pretty clearly, faced with unexpected danger, must be unexpected fireman, and she looks way too battle-hardened, what with wearing armor and, like, having some sweet scars.
Yeah,
like,
scars or war paint.
She should definitely be more of a random villager, being like, oh, turns out I can be a badass.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah, especially given the flavor text.
Yeah.
Duty, honor, and valor are either in your heart or they are not. You will never know for certain until you are tested.
Yeah, she's clearly been tested before.
She's like, yeah, I've done this before. I passed.
I agree with Gimmick Boy.
What's Gimmick Boy saying?
She clearly have a mom flipping a car.
Yeah, with the infant stuck underneath. You know the people that do that, like they tear all their muscles and it takes them like a month to recover.
Alright.
Just saying, people never tell that part of the story.
Sure.
Silvercoat Lion! Row!
Enough said.
Yep.
Sublime Archangel.
This gave me one of my few game losses.
It'll do that.
At the pre-release. I thought I was really far ahead and had a couple of removal spells in my hand, but they were like Pacifism and Show of Valor.
So not removal spells.
Right, and then I died to this.
Yeah. So it's obviously just the stupidest thing ever in Limited. What do you think about it in Constructed?
I mean, it feels like weak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to see people playing it in large quantities?
I don't know. Pass the Jace test.
Is that a test these days? Do you mean the paper snag test?
Yeah, snag, snapcast, or snag test.
Sure.
I mean, Jace test is just shorthand for whatever, you know. It's the Blade test or the Nanaleak test, whatever it happens to be.
Sure.
It's just like, I know it's rotating, but like Hero Blade Hold.
Right.
And
the thing is, like, if they're tapped out, this thing has a hasty effect.
Right.
Whereas, like, those other things.
But its hasty effect is like 3 to 4 damage.
Yeah. That's pretty significant, right?
Yeah, but Rafiq's was like +8 damage.
Sure. So the article that that's going up tonight, where I mentioned the Dark Favor, also talks about a standard port of my whatever the last PT was, Spirit deck, Barcelona, I guess. And
is it Spirit Pod or like Finkel Spirits?
Like Finkel and Go's top 8 deck.
Yeah.
But like with Rancor. And
Angel.
Because in Standard you get the Scars duels, white mana is a lot easier.
Yes.
So you can play this with like Bird and Abyssin's Pilgrim and get a bunch of Exalted on your Invisible Stalker. And I realized, like, when I was building it, that I wasn't actually sure I wanted Dis or Increasing Savagery.
Sure. I was gonna say, like, Wolf or Silverheart.
Well, I mean, yeah, Silverheart's in either way. But, I mean, it is interesting. It's similarly positioned to Silverheart in terms of, like, has problems with Vapor Snag, but is totally insane when it hits and gets in a bunch of damage before it gets snagged and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was the first place where I was like looking at playing it and like considering its power level in an actual deck and stuff, and like trying to figure out if it was better than increasing savagery, and came to the conclusion it was different, and I wasn't really sure.
Sure.
Particularly because I didn't really want to put increasing savagery on a legend in a format where people have images. So I didn't really want to like increasing savagery in my Geist of Saint draft when I could just like play this as my way to get my Geist of Saint draft through.
Yes, that seems better.
But I mean, like, nothing is as good as savagery on Stalker.
Yeah. It's that's pretty interesting. But I think more than that, it's gonna be like a token deck card.
Okay.
Gather and Tangible Virtue.
Sure. Like you play a champion and then you make a bunch of tokens and then you attack for like a zillion.
Yeah.
When you play this thing, and then the next turn you play like make 5 guys attack infinite.
Right. And imagine going like 1-drop, 2-drop, Johnny this double strike. Like a Johnny plus a counter on the 2-drop.
Right.
This pump double strike. That's assuming it's a 2/2.
Probably
for 2s.
lethal.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Flying double strike.
Sure.
12 on turn 4.
And that's like they're just literal very dead if you went like champion into gather into a Johnny into this thing, right?
Yes.
Right.
So that's sweet. I do have one question. What do you think about the syntax of this card?
Where?
It says exalted, and then other creatures you control have exalted, instead of just creatures you control have exalted.
Oh.
It's like a little better for clarity reasons, but I don't think
Right.
I don't think it is by enough. Like I don't think it was confusing the other way enough to justify all the extra words.
I think it depends on how sweet the flavor text would have been.
They're had it syntaxed the other way, but then they're like, we don't have any flavor text. Let's just fill up room with a bunch of reminder text and put another iteration of exalted on it.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Just something to think about. Something I noticed.
You sure?
I need to turn my mod icons on so I can ban this guy. Boom. Alright, to the Eternal. This art is a little off-putting.
Okay.
I don't know what this card does, but... I don't like it.
You don't like Touch of the Eternal?
No.
Why?
For 7 mana, I want to do something cooler.
Like never die?
You never die.
It's like Form of the Old Dude.
Form of the Old Dude. Form of the Immortal. Form of the Eternal.
Form of the Old Dude is much better. Don't even try.
Well, for some, because this is a big Timmy card, right? It's not like, I mean, it might have applications, but this is not a card that they were just like, all right, this is competitive tournament style card.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's the Timmy Johnny space.
Yeah.
It's a, yeah.
Yeah. It for that type of player, I feel like something that is like gain 40 life or whatever.